Well, good morning, everyone in Asia. Hello and welcome to this Asian Digital Financial Symposium for Credit Unions. It's a virtual event brought to you by World Council of Credit Unions, the National Credit Union Federation of Korea, and the Asian Confederation of Credit Unions. My name is Greg Newman. I'm the Director of Communications for World Council. And we're hosting this joint webinar to learn from credit union systems that have successfully implemented digital platforms for their members and to provide tips to credit union systems seeking to achieve their own digital transformation. Today, we're going to see presentations from In-Shil Jong, head of the Digital Finance Division for the National Credit Union Federation of Korea, João Tavares, Executive Director of Sicredi, Brazil's largest credit union system, and Evangeline Lopez, Kaya Payment Platform Manager for the National Confederation of Cooperatives in the Philippines. If you have any questions for our speakers as you hear them and you think to ask something, you can use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and type your questions in there. I will ask questions of the speakers as time permits. Also, today's webinar is being recorded. It's going to be available later, likely later tonight, on the World Council YouTube channel at youtube.com/woku. That's youtube.com/woku. And we're going to jump right into our first presentation of the day. It comes from In-Shil Jong, head of the Digital Finance Division at the National Credit Union Federation of Korea, or NACUFOK, World Council's direct member association representing nearly 800 credit unions in South Korea. Mr. Jung is presenting on the goals and direction of the Korean credit union's IT systems integration. Mr. Jung.
Hello, everyone. I am Jong In-Chul. I am the Director of IT Planning at the NACUFOK. So I am delighted to be present on the purpose and the direction of IT systems integration in Korea. I hope that today's my presentation will be help to ACCU members who are preparing for IT system integration for their system. So in order to share our experiences, we have to go back to many years back, and the integration of IT network started about 30 years ago. It cannot be built one day, one night, and it takes time to build the IT network integration. And that the core of the integration effort is to improve credit union competitiveness and to improve the convenience of our members. And 1990s, we started to build and prepare for the IT system integration. The competition became intense as the industry bracing for the opening of the Korean financial market in 1990s, and this accelerated the financial industry's move toward digitalization to accommodate the diverse needs of customers. In line with this change, the IT department and the R&D at NACUFOK started to launch a study on digitalization in the 1990s, and they started to build the IT network. And the IT system integration for credit union started with the software integration in 1991, and then moved on to build the IT center in the 2001, and completed with the hardware integration in 2008. And so we started to develop and deploy the standard software in the 1991 for the standardization and build the IT center. And then we built the next gen IT system and integrated the ledgers of credit unions in the 2008. So the NACUFOK started IT system integration journey with the development of standard software, because without the standardization, it was deemed impossible to build the IT network. At the time, only NACUFOK and some large credit unions used the software programs developed in-house for limited processes. So NACUFOK was not involved in the system development for the primary member credit unions because they lacked at the time the awareness to improve efficiency through digitalization, and they lacked the resources to purchase IT software and the hardware, and they lacked also IT staff to maintain it. And also the system was fragmented because over 35 development vendors were engaged. So it was quite difficult to do the standardization and build the IT network. Up to the point, the digitalization was pursued by non-experts. So the benefit were negligible and the maintenance issues continued to pop up. And this creates a vicious cycle where people don't see the benefit of digitalization. So against this backdrop, the NACUFOK decided to develop the common standard software to address the fragmented software issues. And the standardization of programs lays the foundation to build the IT network. And the NACUFOK initiated this project. So our dependency on the outside vendors was reduced. So now we, credit unions and the NACUFOK, had the initiative in the building IT network. So in that regard, it is a quite significant move. So we started the manual work that are frequently used and turned that into automatic and the digital process, and made the design to be compatible with the existing programs and the processes that were already built in. With the standard program development, we started to implement it. And to do that, we selected 12 vendors, and then selected the 10 hardware vendors as well for the implementation and the deployment of the standard programs and the softwares. And the training is also very important. And so we set up the training centers so that the vendors and the employees can gather together for the training. So the deployment of standard software went smoothly. So thanks to that effort, digitalization expanded from the 25% in 1992 to 88% in the 1997. So NACUFOK started to build a CUNet, the credit union network, to connect the NACUFOK Confederation and the credit unions as part of phase 2 IT network build. So it was built and the objective is to build and implement the dispersed and the distributed network for the credit unions. In March 1995, and the 15 federations had their IT network, and that can be connected with the network of other banks so that they can do the online transaction processing. But relying on the network of other banks had fundamental limitations to expand into new businesses, and it also lacked the efficiency and the business process. So as digitalization progressed, a new challenge emerged to build a stable operation foundation for our credit unions IT systems. So in order to provide better services for the members, so with the expanded product and the service offering, and to have a reliable and easy to manage network, and to build a system that the best fit for the KTFC, and also to better make the use of information system resources, started to build the IT center where all the networks and the data of credit unions were centralized. In the September 2001, admission to KFTC was approved, and this opened the door for credit unions to provide the independent online services, which were until then partially offered through affiliation with banks. KFTC is a Korea financial telecommunication clearinghouse, and it's a clearinghouse that offers a nationwide network for the financial institutions in Korea. Admission to KFTC also helped the credit unions to create new revenue stream from the non-interest income. According to our analysis, between the 2002 to 2004, 22.3 billion won was spent on the KFTC cost, whereas 31.4 billion were generated in the revenue. So we had 1.4 times the return on the investment. In the 2000s, with the development of technology and the internet, the financial landscape in Korea has rapidly changed from the contact to remote channels. So now ATM and the internet banking became the mainstream, and the capacity to provide tailored financial services based on the member information became the key to competitiveness in order to meet the diverse needs of members. But at the time, NACUFOK had the online system only for the savings account, with the transaction processing dispersed among the credit unions, leading to low productivity and efficiency. Thus, NACUFOK launched next-gen the financial IT system project to integrate the ledgers dispersed among the credit unions to IT center to lay the foundation for all around the comprehensive financial services to better use of IT staff and enable data-based marketing. So let me elaborate more on the next-gen financial IT system, which started in the April 2007, and this was completed in the 2008. And there are a number of objectives of this project, and the first is to provide the centralization of ledgers, but the goal is to provide the same services to the members despite regardless of their location across the nation. And the next-gen IT system manages and collects all the different contact points of credit unions, so that it opens the possibility to provide personalized and tailored services to the members. And all the ledgers of credit unions were centralized with the next-gen system. So credit unions don't need to hire IT staff, and they can reduce the workload in the monthly closing. That means improving the productivity. So the next gen saved the cost about 2.5 billion per year. And we didn't use the vendor to deploy programs. And that means the speed of data and the transaction processing got faster. And the disaster recovery center gave us the ability to respond during the disaster. So now 24/7 service became available. So the credit unions became the nimbly respond to the changes in the environment. Then let me talk about the direction of the IT system, the integration in the Korea. And the strategy of our IT integration is just simple and very clear. And our goal is to have and to aspire for digital human that combines the technology with the value. And our slogan is the same things should be same and the different things are different. What this means is that the technology is just same, but the content is different. The content provided by credit unions are different. The credit unions are cooperatives. So in that regard, we have our characteristics, even though we also provide the same the financial, the services and the product like other banks. So in the technology, so we want to provide the services and the technology and the product on par with the other leading banks. But for the cooperative values, we want to be distinctive from the other financial institutions and have a unique IT system that fits into our characteristics. And lastly, I would like to share some of the digital services that the Korean credit unions offer to members. And is it to use and anywhere, at any time, anyone can use our services. And that is the goal of our digital offerings. Bank is our mobile bank. And it was launched in the January 2001. And within 1 year of launch, and the deposit grew to 3 trillion won. And the membership, currency exchange, and the deposit, and all kinds of transactions that can be processed through mobile. And let me now explain about the digital teller, and it was launched in 2008 to become the paperless. So we want to be paperless, and that means we can reduce the mistakes in the storing and the managing the documentations, and it also saves us some costs. And the tablet branch is another services we can offer, and 90% of credit union businesses can be done here. So it is a kind of the mobile digital service that if some the members cannot visit the branches, then the employees bring the tablet, the branch to them. And let me now explain about the biometrics service, and using the biometrics information of members, we can have a secure financial transactions without using the need for seals or signature. It was launched in 2009 that with just one authentication that it can be used in the credit unions and the other banks at the airport too. You need just one authentication process to use it. And that's what I have for today. And so this ends my presentation for the purpose and the direction of the Korean credit union system. I think that the speed matter in the digital world, and the small can the bit small players can be beat by big players, but the fast mover can be the survivor in the market. I believe that in this rapidly changing digital world, credit unions need to be nimble and speedy in making business decisions, and the IT integration enables us to do that, to be nimble and speedy in the changing environment. Thank you. That's the message that I have for today.
Well, thank you so much. I think the term digital humans, that's something that I think a lot of people probably caught their attention. And I can tell you that there are already some questions in the queue. We are going to hold all of the questions till the end of today's session, where we've left 20 minutes at the end where we can ask the questions of Mr. Zhang and also our other two speakers. So if you have questions that are in the queue right now, we will get to those at the end of today's session. But we are going to move on to our next speaker now, and we're going to move over to the Western Hemisphere to hear from João Tavares. He is the Executive Director of Sicredi. Sicredi is Brazil's largest credit union system and a World Council Direct Member Association. Mr. Tavares is going to discuss how Sicredi created a shared digital platform for its member credit unions and the other digital innovations they are providing for credit union members across Brazil. João, welcome.
Okay, Greg, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It's a good pleasure to be here with you. In fact, in Brazil, here is 23 p.m. from yesterday. In fact, it's amazing. I'm talking from yesterday for you in Korea. Well, I would like to share with you our experience here in Sicredi in Brazil, our experience in digitalization, but looking for another aspects regarding, for example, our structure and governance, to share with you our experience nowadays. Well, I can control my slides. Okay. Well, Sicredi is the biggest credit cooperative system in Brazil, and all credit cooperatives here in Sicredi use the same bylaws, the same systems, the same procedures and policies, but in fact, it's a system formed by 180 credit cooperatives that decided to use the same brain, the same process, the same systems, and the same products and policies, trying to reduce the costs and to achieve another kind of experience and then a complete portfolio for our members. As I've said, now in Brazil, we are the biggest system with 108 credit cooperatives or credit unions, more than 2,000 branches. Nowadays it's 2,300 branches, more than 5 million members and 30,000 employees. In terms of Brazil, is a huge system, and but compared with the banks, because you know Brazil is a very sophisticated financial market and very concentrated market. The 5 biggest banks concentrate almost 80% of the market, but the credit cooperatives are growing very fast. Sicredi grew 40% last year in assets, and in Brazil we are living a boom of credit cooperatives nowadays. In terms of numbers, to share with you, our assets is 150 billion reais, is almost $30 billion, and a big credit portfolio. And besides the credit portfolio, we serve our members with products and services like insurance, credit cards, investment funds, and we have a complete portfolio for business and for personal to individuals. And I would like to share with you our governance, because it's very important for us. This governance is the solution that we find to increase, to keep it growing, to keep our cooperative nature. In fact, the credit cooperatives of Sicredi has more than 100 years, but 20, 30 years ago, they decided to merge or to use the same brand, to join the forces and to reduce the costs and to make feasible the investments in IT and process, and to use the financial market more broadly. Then decided to constitute a bank. I work for the bank, but in fact we are cooperatives, but the cooperatives are the owners of the bank, and the bank is used to link the credit cooperatives to the financial markets in Brazil and international financial markets. And besides the bank, we have a confederation. The confederation is in charge of all IT developments and processing, and then the credit cooperatives are not developing IT. The IT for Sicredi is developed in confederation, and all credit unions use the same systems and the same process that are run for the confederation. I am the CEO of the bank and the confederation too. And the system, in this way, we can serve our members with the top of experience in terms of IT, and to keep our cooperative nature, because it could be impossible to a credit union to run a so sophisticated IT environment alone. Then decided to do that using the confederation and the bank. And to keep our strategy planning and our strategy focused on being a credit cooperative, we have a Sicredi Par, that is a holding that controls the bank and the confederation, and that established the strategy for the bank and the confederation. Then I need to follow the strategy defined by the credit cooperatives. That's why we are a credit cooperative, is not a bank or something like that. In 2020, we faced the pandemics. I'm sure that everybody is facing the pandemics nowadays, but it was a great year for Sicredi because we decided to keep our action in the communities, and we increased a lot our business, and we grow 40% our assets and 23.5% our credit portfolio. And we opened more 105 new branches because we believe that besides all IT and the intense use of technology, our physical presence in the community is very important. It's a differential because we use the technology to helping members and credit cooperatives to doing business and process the business, but we use the branches to keep the community together and to bring the community together to share experience and to have some kind of consultants. You know? And in 2020, the Brazilian government developed several programs to help people and business, and we implemented all those programs, those support programs to help our members to keep their activities. And we do that very fast in using digital technology. Our use of mobile banking, for example, increased 50% in 2020 because we tried to make possible to everybody to solve the financial life using the mobile without the need to go to a branch. Then it was a great year. We know that it's very difficult to run business and to keep the activities of our members, but I believe that we did a great job in using a lot of technology to do that. We use the artificial intelligence to increase our capacity to serve our members when they call or when they text to solve some kind of a problem or doubt. we use the artificial intelligence, and our AI helped us to serve almost 50% of our calls. But use all this digital experience, all this digital technology to try to keep next to the members, not to keep the members a part of the credit union. And we implemented the meetings, the board meetings, using a digital platform too. In Brazil, it's very important, the board meeting, we have a 2,000 board meetings, two board meetings a year. The most important is the board meeting we do February, March, and we run it all the assemblies that we call here in Brazil, but in fact the board, the meetings using a digital platform. And all this technology is run centralized in the Secret Administrative Center, and the Secret Administrative Center is in charge of developing systems and to hire technology for providers and to develop the systems and the process to keep the credit cooperatives running. Then nowadays we are investing in a new core banking. We are changing our technology, but we are trying to do that without to affect the experience of our members. It's a journey very, very tough, very important, and we are trying to reduce costs to keep our physical presence feasible. And when we decided to run all the technology in Credit Administrative Center, we make possible to the credit cooperatives access all the channels we have. For example, we have the systems run inside the branches, in the ATMs, POS, mobile, internet banking. All devices can be used by our members and by our colleagues from the branches. It's a question, then we are national or local? Because if you run technology centralized, it's a danger to forget that our mission, that is to keep local. And what you decide, what you do is to use all we use the centralized processing to reduce costs and to make feasible to use all the technology, but to keep our presence locally. We are the only financial institution in 200 Brazilian cities. Then it's very important our presence in the cities, especially during the pandemics, because the only financial institution that ran the government programs, it was Sicredi. And we believe in a difference when we talk about digital presence, digital market, digital trends. We believe in a greater significance for the society through a cooperative proximity. We are using technology, but when we use technology, we talk about cooperative system, about cooperative experience. It's not only another bank. In fact, it's a cooperative experience. We try to show to the member how the money is invested, how the effects of that operation. Then we try to make a cooperative experience, a digital banking experience. And we are using technology as an enabler for a closer relationship, because we realize that it's very tough to achieve, to access all members, because we have a huge number of members. Then we need to use more technology to help us on how to understand each member and which life cycle of the member. That we are using CRM and we are using Salesforce to understand the needs of our members. And at the same time, when we use this kind of technology, we can reduce the operational process and we can reduce costs and we can free people to serve their members and reducing back off staff. It's a very important goal on using high technology. And using technology, we can make C-Credit for everyone. And we have some kind of member that prefers to use the branch, to go to a physical branch. And we have another kind of people, young people that prefer to use mobile, to use the internet, no problem. Our goal is C-Credit for everyone. And using the new technology, we can be more flexible. We can adapt our solutions. We can use another kind of provider in terms of services. For example, nowadays we can use different insurance companies to offer to our member the best deal in terms of insurance products. It's possible because you use an API environment, and every insurance company can join the C-Credit platform to offer the products. Yeah. And for us, digital is not only a technology, and we talk about a culture, because it's not only to changing systems and to changing process, but it's a case of changing the mindset. We need to be more flexible, to be faster, and to include more kind of people, different kind of people, to use all the potential of this kind of new technology. That's why we started in 2017 a digital transformation, and that are changing the systems, but make bringing new process to our process to change the way we do business. I would like to share with you some examples of that. We have the internet banking, and we transformed our internet banking from internet banking that people use it to consult, to assess numbers, to internet banking very productive. Everybody can use the internet banking to assess all products we have. It's the same case of C-Credit app that run in the iOS or Android. And nowadays, almost everybody use the C-Credit app. And we have in 2020, we started to use the WhatsApp as a tool, not only to talk with our members, but to make operations using WhatsApp. Then the members can consult the numbers, and some kind of product can be accessed by WhatsApp. And in 2020, we went beyond the innovation in financial solutions. We used the digital platform to build some kind of ways of helping our members to keep the activities. We created a program that is called I Cooperate with the Local Economy. It's a program to help people to keep buying goods from the local business, local companies, and you build another solution that you call Connecta. It's a marketplace free for our members that they can use to sell the products and to negotiate without the need to have a physical location, because in Brazil the pandemics obligated the governments to close the business, and our members can use the marketplace to keep their activities. It was very important to consolidate our brand and to consolidate our cooperative way of doing the things. And there are so much to go. Brazil is going very faster on digitalizing the economy. The central bank is now starting the open banking. We are dealing with this. Sicredi is the first cooperative system entering in the open banking. And it's the same with Pix. Pix is a payment system that use the digital platform 24/7. It's very intense, very sophisticated, and all credit cooperatives can use because we implement the systems centralized. Then doing that, we can merge the cooperativism, the cooperative system, and the digital cooperative system that puts the member at the center, and they use the technology to solve the members' demands. And it's very, in fact, it's very expensive, but as we have 2,000 brands and more than 100 credit cooperatives, they share the costs of this development. And we keep our systemic strength that is bringing impact solutions for local economies. And this, when we talk about technology, it's very sophisticated, very centralized, but we keep our activities in local economy. Okay, it's what I had to this moment, and now you have here my email. Be comfortable to share your ideas using my email. Thank you.
Zhao, thank you so much. And it feels like every time I see a presentation from you or someone else from Sicredi, I find out you're doing something new. And that's something that Sicredi is known for, is they're constantly innovating, they're constantly being dynamic, and you see that in Zhao's presentation. I know there are a lot of questions for you, and again, we are going to get to all of those at the end of all of our speakers. And we are now coming up to our final speaker. Finally, we're joined by Evangeline Lopez. She is the manager of NATCO's Kaya payment platform. Kaya was developed through a partnership between NATCO, the Philippines Federation of Credit Cooperatives National, and the Asian Confederation of Credit Unions. It's a cloud-based payment platform that targets over 6 million people and enables credit unions to expand on the range of digital services they make available to their members. Evangeline, thanks so much for being here, and the floor is yours.
Yes. Hello. Yeah, can you hear me? And can you see my slides?
We can hear you. We cannot see your slides yet.
Okay, sorry.
And now we have them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. So I'll be presenting the Kaya payment platform from the Philippines. So to do that, I'll start with giving an overview of the financial service landscape in the Philippines and how Kaya plays in this overall landscape. Now, our response as an integrative tool for the cooperative network on digital payments. I'll also be talking about our digitalization challenges and opportunities, and our Kaya 2.0 as a response to these challenges. So I'm borrowing a slide from the presentation of Brian Branch when he was our speaker at the NATCO Leaders Congress a month ago. And this slide is very familiar to most of us. No? It's actually the same challenges that we are still experiencing now. Regulatory limitations, competition from other players, the fintechs in particular, how to attract the younger members, the younger segment of the population into the credit union movement, sustainability of the small co-op, cybersecurity, and of course we have the COVID-19, which has heightened the need to digitalize, no? Especially for cooperatives. Okay, but additional challenge for us in the Philippines is that financial inclusion. No? Of course, we know that many of you know that Philippines is a developing economy, and many are poor. No? And in the Philippines, only 33% have access to a formal account. No? So this is both a challenge and an opportunity for cooperatives or credit unions in the Philippines. In the survey done by the Central Bank in 2019, it shows, however, that there's a slight decrease in account ownership in cooperatives as compared to the remarkable growth in e-money accounts. No? E-money, of course, the accounts offered by fintechs. No? So it shows that it's a question for us, something to reflect on for us cooperatives, why account ownership would be decreasing in cooperatives. No? Of course, to address the financial inclusion challenges, the government of the Philippines and the Central Bank pushed for the modernization of the retail payment system, starting with the development of the National Retail Payment System Framework, and then they launched the two retail payment systems, PesoNet and InstaPay, in 2017 and 2018, and then passed two milestone laws, which are the National Payment Systems Act and the National ID System Act. The main issue that we have here, however, is that the National Retail Payment Systems Framework only facilitates interoperability among the central bank regulated financial institutions. And these are the banks and the electronic money issuers. No? So only these financial institutions can become direct participants in the national retail payment systems. So where does that leave the cooperatives? Well, they can connect to the banks or the electronic money issuers and become agents, and use the platforms of this of these financial institutions if they want to connect to the national payment system. Of course, we're doing bank transactions, and in this framework, we are just relegated to agents of these BSP regulated financial institutions. So that's a major issue that we would like to address, and we're later on I'll talk about how we're moving on this issue. Okay, just a snapshot of the networks in the Philippines, that are members of ACCU and indirectly affiliated with WOCU. In the Philippines, there are two federations that are members of ACCU. These are the Philippine Federation of Credit Co-ops and NATCO, National Confederation of Credit Cooperatives. So the combined network of this, the combined credit unions or cooperatives of these two networks would be 1,665 co-ops, and that comprises about 14% of the total cooperatives in the Philippines. And we have an aggregate of 6.6 million individual members, and that is already more than 50% of the total members of the credit union movement in the Philippines. That's the same also for the aggregated assets of these two networks. So Kaya is really considered as an integrative tool for our co-op network. But compared to compared to Secredi and NACUFOK, Kaya is still a baby. No, and I'm learning as well from the sharings of our first two presenters, because we certainly hope that it will not take us 1 century, 100 years, or 30 years, no, to achieve what these two federations or networks have achieved. No? When NOTCO, PFCCO, and the other federations were very busy with their shared core banking systems, in 2012, up to 2015, ACCU was already talking to consultants and the CEOs, the member CEOs, no, about regional payments. And it was in 2015, in a regional workshop, when 4 ACCU members committed to launch the ACCU Payment Platform project. It was also, well, it was piloted in the Philippines in 2016. No? NOTCO, PFCCO, and we signed a contract with our platform providers, Temenos and Software Group. No? I'd like to highlight this, although this has been mentioned as key elements of an integrated cooperative network, no, by our two presenters. No? Kaya is an integrative tool because it enables us to pool our resources, especially for cooperatives, no, that do not have the capacity to invest in very expensive technology solutions. No, it's really the best way for them to have access to this technology. It's very complicated to offer an online platform if everyone would want to have, every co-op would want to have their system customized for it, or would like to offer a different product, no, a customized product. No? So it has to be standardized. And contractual solidarity, which is related to what I mentioned earlier, it's ensuring that even the small cooperatives would grow and have access to these technology solutions. Of course, for Kaya, we need to have leaders that have the vision and are also agile, no? Because we cannot be, and this has to be, the direction has to be decided collaboratively. No, it's not just, although NOTCO is the operator here, the decision of where and how to take Kaya forward is done by both NOTCO and PFCCO. So this is the goal, offer a shared payment platform with high accessibility and usability for all the members of the cooperatives in the country. The initial stakeholders are ACCU at the regional level. As mentioned, member federations of ACCU are PFCCO and NOTCO, and these are our platform providers. Of course, we're also grateful to WOKU for supporting us in the Gates project, no, and helping us scale Kaya. So these are the same benefits that you've heard earlier that we want our cooperatives and their members to achieve. I'd like to mention, however, that in the Philippines, when we do our Kaya presentations, the question often asked is how much profit will we gain, no, from offering Kaya? Seldom or it's rare when you hear cooperatives asking, how many members will I gain by using Kaya? How many branches will we be able to open, or do we need to open more branches in order to serve more members? No, it's always, the first question is always, how much revenue will we make? How much profit will we make by offering this service? No, so it's more of a business venture for many co-ops, and rather than thinking of how they can retain their member loyalty or customer stickiness and improve efficiency of their processes in serving their members. Of course, with COVID-19, it has heightened the need to do digital, to access the digital channels for their members' transactions. So I've said we're still a baby. Kaya is still a baby. When we started Kaya in 2016, it was a year later before we had the over-the-counter transactions. No? Internet banking is limited to the tellers, to the branches. No, but we'd like to highlight here that this is something new for many cooperatives. No, the ability to be able to serve, or the ability to or enabling their members to transact in other co-op branches. No. That's the essence of the shared branches, and extending the service points for a cooperative, for example, that only has a single office. In the same year, in 2017, we were able to launch our Kaya mobile app. And then in 2018, NACCO actually had its ATM services in 2010, no? But we in 2018 we had to integrate this in the Kaya platform, no? And only last year when we were able to launch our POS. So we're issuing our own EMB cards, not yet MasterCard or Visa. So it's an ATM debit card, but where Kaya is interconnected with the National ATM Consortium, as well as with a biller aggregator, ng EasyPay. So this is part of the offering a standard savings product is part of the, well, achieving efficiency, no? Because in the Philippines, most of the cooperatives would have their own core banking systems. Many of these are standalone systems. So the accounts that members have with their cooperatives will not be able to do online transactions. That's why we had to offer a single type of product which can be transacted online, no? in the ATMs, when they go to other Kaya branches, etc. No? So it's very cheap. Now, to open an account, you just need approximately $2. But what we want to emphasize here is that the accounts of the members, the fund stays in the cooperative. No? So when cooperatives explore options of, well, why can't we just use this fintech's offering? No, it's a lot cheaper for us. No, of course we have to. They are not. I mean, they still have not considered that they are putting the money of their members in the funds, in the accounts of the fintech. No, so this is what we always highlight with our cooperatives. Now, the accounts stays with the co-op. It stays in the books of the cooperative, and not in the bank or not in another fintech. Okay, so we're still, as mentioned earlier, we're the combined network of NACCO and PFCCO is 1,665 cooperatives. So the adopters of Kaya are still at 9%, only 145 co-ops. We're still very small number of account holders on Kaya, barely 1%. No? So this is our card issuer base, and the number of our other channels, the 75 ATMs and POS. No? But in terms of transaction volume, the amounts that we are able to process daily. So this is in 2020. No? So we're able to process about $123.2 million transactions. No? This is important for us because we are advocating with the central bank that we become a direct participant in the national payment system, and we have the experience and the capacity to do real-time clearing and settlement. So what are our digitalization challenges and opportunities? Mindset was mentioned earlier by our two speakers. We often hear this, that digital transformation is more about leadership mindset, but also mindset is also very critical in terms of achieving integration in a cooperative network. Some leaders would use their personal experience as the basis of deciding whether to offer, say, mobile banking for their members. If a leader is very comfortable with face-to-face interaction in the branch, or accessing services of the branch, then that leader would think that it's still the best way of offering services to the co-ops. Of course, some leaders, especially the big ones, would have the resources to do this on their own. So it's this, the leadership mindset really forms a major part of how we can achieve integration as well as digital transformation in the cooperative network. As I've also mentioned, one of our major challenges is that many of the cooperatives, although the federations are offering shared core banking systems, nearly 40% are computerized but do not use any core application systems. So in terms of using Kaya, so that is a challenge, because Kaya is not interconnected with their core banking system, and when you are using a standalone or Excel, that cannot be connected to Kaya. So the staff, the employees would often complain that this Kaya is an additional work for us. But it's essentially because they are using two systems that are not connected, and even their own core banking systems are not that sophisticated to handle more complex or to scale their operations. So this is a result also of the research done by the consultants of the Gates project, the Gates and the WalkU consultants, the phase 1 in digital interoperability project in 2019. So in terms of the Kaya platform, our main challenge is that currently it still operates as a closed loop system, meaning you can only send money or transfer funds to another Kaya account holder. We cannot transfer from our Kaya account, say, to a bank account, and that's because we have that regulatory challenge. We're not yet connected to the national payment system. We hear our members asking if they can be able to transfer, say, from an e-wallet account to a Kaya account, and that's not yet available. So second, I already mentioned this, many co-ops, especially the ones that the big ones that have online core banking systems, would wish to use their own core banking system for these transactions instead of offering another Kaya savings product. Of course, even our mobile app needs to be improved, to make it more intuitive and more user-friendly. But compared to the leadership mindset, mindset is about, of course, changing the culture. Mindset is also about learning or unlearning the things that you have been doing for so many things, for so many years. So something that we can fix or address. So this is the main opportunity that we're seeing in our Kaya payment platform. No? Kaya can really be a shared real-time payment system, and we can build on the existing Kaya initiative. And the yellow box that you can see here, no? the cooperative payment platform, is what we would like Kaya to be. No? So Kaya is, we'd like to provide the capability for cooperatives that have their core banking systems, or even those that do not have a core banking system, no, to be able to use Kaya for their back office processing. Next, we'd like to offer a menu of services, including a wallet system like the existing Kaya. We're calling it a savings account, but it functions like a wallet actually, and and even interconnect the other platforms of the platforms of the other federations. And this is a very good development, because we have been talking now with other federations and how their platforms, their switches can be connected to Kaya, no? And make this yellow box, the Kaya as the cooperative payment platform, really possible. And of course, when we have this, Kaya will be the main system that will be the main platform, no, for the cooperatives that will be connected to the national retail payment system, where we can interconnect, where we can do fund transfers to bank accounts and to electronic money accounts, etc. No? So currently it's just one way, where Kaya is connected to BankNet, the domestic ATM and POS switch. But for the national retail payment system, InstaPay and PesoNet, we're hoping that this year it will become real. No? So what have we achieved here? NACUFOK is now registered as an operator of a payment system, which is a requirement of the National Payment Systems Act. The regulatory agency for cooperatives, which is the CDA, the Cooperative Development Agency, has endorsed Kaya to the central bank. And the central bank responded by getting more information about Kaya, about NACUFOK and PFCCO, and they also sent letters saying that they are still in the stage of developing more inclusive and suitable framework to enable participation of cooperatives in the retail payment systems. No? So in order to address the expectations of our member customers, we're also improving our current Kaya platform. So by next month, we'll be able to launch our new mobile app. It's crazy in the Philippines that many are Android users, but many leaders would still ask for an iOS version of Kaya. No? So even 80% of the population are Android users. No? So we'll be launching that, a new mobile app. We are integrating with the core banking systems of NACUFOK and PFCCO. So that means the co-ops using these core banking systems will be able to use their own co-op accounts, no, to do the transactions. We've added functionalities here like merchant payments, where because many of our co-op members are also entrepreneurs, no? So merchant payments will soon be enabled on Kaya. We're improving the experience of the members for signing up or opening their Kaya account. They do not have to go to the branch just to open their Kaya savings account. It can be done through the mobile app, and better back office processes. No, mainly here would be reconciliation, especially for the co-op accounting staff. No? So many are requesting that entries, accounting entries, for example, would be automated and, if possible, spoon-fed, be given to them by the system. And as I've mentioned, there's already we're talking with two other federations. One is an insurance cooperative federation, and they will become a biller. They will become a biller on Kaya. And the other federation is also exploring how their ATM switch can be connected to Kaya, so that we will have a bigger on us transactions. It doesn't have, so when we transfer funds from a Kaya account to the accounts of the cooperatives in that federation, then we will be able to set our own rules. No? So these are also the other developments that we're planning for the year. Many co-ops are requesting that is it possible for their members to do cash in or cash out at non-co-op outlets, no? For example, for in pawn shops or retail stores, no? Interbank funds transfer, hopefully within the year, QR payments, and etc. So international remittance. Of course, remittance is a major revenue for the country, and we have so many overseas workers, no, and sending money to the Philippines. So again, I'm to close my presentation, no? Brian was a speaker at NATCO's Leaders Congress, and this of the many messages that he gave, no, and this is one appropriate for this presentation. So he mentioned that digitization is not just about adding an app; it is integration. So it's not really just about technology. It's ensuring that we, as cooperatives, remain true to our value. We also had this speaker, and he said, the chief of party of the USAID, no, e-peso, for the e-peso project, he said in one of our leaders Congress, one of the major challenges of the cooperatives is how they can practice cooperation. So on that note, thank you very much, and looking forward to your questions.
I love that. Thank you, Evangeline, and I love that sign off about cooperators cooperating, and clearly Kaya is a great example of cooperators cooperating, because it took a lot of different entities to come together and make this platform. I want to bring Zhao and also Inchal back on camera too, because like I said earlier, the questions were coming in, and we do have quite a few of them, and we have about 20 minutes to answer questions. So I just want to jump around to some of the 13 questions that we have so far. One came in from Sylvia during Inchal's presentation. So I'll ask you first, Inchal, if others have thoughts on this. Regarding the distribution of the standard software in your IT platform, Inchal, the primary credit unions, did they pay for the software, or was it free to them?
But the standard software has to be paid by those who get the profit out of it. That's the principle. And depending on the size of the asset and the volume of the data, tiered the service charges were imposed to the primary credit unions. So it wasn't provided for free, and it has to be paid. But they don't have to pay the whole amount. And 50% were paid by primary credit unions, but the half were paid by the mutual aid department of the NACUFOK. So it was split the payment between the NACUFOK and the primary credit unions.
And I should ask Evangeline and Zhao, do you run into that question as well from your cooperatives in payment and how that's shared between the association and then the credit unions themselves when it comes to software?
Well, Zhao, can I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead, Evangeline.
Yeah. So in the Philippines, when we offer our shared core banking systems, there's price, no? So it depends on the, for example, the number of accounts and the number of branch users, no? Of course, I guess we need to be more transparent on the total investments of the Federation in continuously upgrading our IT solutions, no? Our shared core banking systems. Many of that is actually shouldered first by the federations, and how we're trying to recover this is through the investments, the investments that the cooperatives, or the subscription fees that the cooperatives will pay in using the system. It definitely cannot be free, no, because as I've said, technology solutions are very expensive.
And Zhao, how does Secreti, I know that I saw you answer one question that someone had, that the cooperatives do help support the systems you put in?
In fact, our investments are supported by the credit cooperatives. We have a process, and we allocate the costs depending of the use of each one credit cooperative. But all the investment are supported by the credit cooperatives.
Let's go to one other question. There were a lot of questions, or a few anyway, about security, especially when it comes to going paperless. That a couple of people had, and one had a very basic question of what replaces the borrower's physical signature when you go paperless, and how is that validated? And another person asked that, again, kind of the same thing. How do you ensure the borrower itself is the one who borrowed the money if it's paperless, given the situation nowadays with hackers? Zhao, I know that you had responded to somebody in the Q&A. You had typed out an answer. I'll start with you. This is a concern for a lot of credit unions that currently aren't digital.
Yeah. For us in Sicredi, cybersecurity is one of the most expensive investment we have each year. You know, in Brazil, everything is in financial markets is very sophisticated, and digital environment is very popular in Brazil when we talk about financial markets. That's why we have so much people trying to make something that is wrong, and we need to invest a lot in the cybersecurity. But in the other side, in Brazil, we have devices that can prove where the people is, who is the people that is borrowing the money. And you know that when we started to use the digital association, when a person can open an account using only the digital environment, our frauds decreased a lot, because we have some kind of algorithms that can check where the device is, where the people is saying that she is, or he is, and we trace some kinds of information that is better than the physical check we have in the branch. It's amazing. The digital environment is safer than the physical environment.
Inchal, since IT is your specialty, I'll ask you next. How do you go about making sure, and what would you say to credit unions nervous about making sure that paperless is a safe way to transact business?
About the security issue, I believe that the paper signed by the customers is sent to the KFTC, and the KFTC verify it, and then the manipulation is impossible after that. And when it comes to signature, in Korea, we have still the culture of using the seal, and we have the scanner, to scan the seal. And there is another scanner for the signature. So the device has the part, so the customer, the member, signs on that the device, and that is digitally kept and sent to KFTC. And once it is sent to KFTC, there is no risk of manipulation. And we have the special agencies specialized in the financial security, and the NACUFOK and the credit union are the members of that institution. So we have the security solution that is all shared by other financial institutions in Korea. So the standard is quite high.
And for folks out there who are wondering, KFTC, you heard those initials, that's the Korean Financial Telecommunication and Clearings Institute. And certainly in many countries, there is a government entity that does help make sure that these transactions are secure. I do want to switch to another question here, just so we can try to get to more of these. This is a great question from Leah. She asks, do you have a way, and I'll start with you on this one, Evangeline, do you have a way of assessing the readiness of a cooperatives? Is there, say, a self-checklist in using the world of digitalization of the virtual operations? That's certainly going to have a cost attached to it, because a lot of cooperatives can't just jump into it. So do you have some sort of standard checklist that a cooperative may have to knock off some of these things on that checklist to be able to jump right into the digitization?
Well, in our current context, actually, there's no cooperative that should be exempted from going digital. No, it's a question actually of survival. If we will still be around, no, by doing things as usual, no, face to face, no. So we do not have this checklist, because practically everyone should be going digital, no. And it's not just in terms of using digital channels, but improving even your back office operations. You cannot scale. You cannot. If your dream is to have, say, 10,000, 20,000 members, you cannot do that with a system but just using Excel, no, or a standalone system. So it's an imperative. It's something that we all have to do. So the readiness actually would be, again, going back to the mindset. It's more for a challenge for the leaders. How ready are they to take their cooperatives forward and be more ambitious of their goals in terms of membership expansion and thriving and not just surviving.
Zhao, do you agree with that assessment? I mean, is it not something that you can say, well, they're not ready, they have to find a way to get ready?
In the case of credit, in fact, all the credit cooperatives use the same system. I'm not sure. You can listen me?
Well, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. In Cicred, we started with a strategic planning, IT strategic planning. We started before. Then they decided together to start the journey. Then we are doing everything together. Then we started deciding the start of the journey, and all the credit cooperatives use the same systems, the same digital process. Then it's very difficult because we have very, very big cooperatives and very small cooperatives, and sometimes we need to to keep they together. Yeah, it's very tough, but it's a way to keep they working together and to keep the system working as a system, because for us it's very important.
This is, I mentioned earlier, and there was the comment about the KFTC, and I mentioned there are a lot of governments that have things in place to make sure that transactions are secure. One thing I'm curious about, and this is one of the questions, was there government support or legislation to push digitalization in your respective countries? And I'll start with Inchol. Was there a push in Korea to make sure that finances were digitized?
For the government regulation, and I think that it's the same for everyone, and they government support and regulate at the same time. And in Korea's case, the financial regulatory committee supports digitalization. Also, they place a lot of regulations to prevent any privacy issues, and we are seeing that the regulations on the privacy and the personal information is getting stronger. And the one thing that is ongoing in Korea is open banking system. All the account of financial systems can be put one platform, and that is an open banking platform, and we are part of it. If you open the mobile bank app, then you can see all the transactions, and not only with the credit unions, but also the account that you have with the other banks. And this is something the government is pushing hard. And the other one is that we have My Data program that is led by the government, and all the financial data of customers will be collected into one place. And so the financial data of people will be shared in the one place, and that is an ongoing project. And for the security, the government provide a very specified guidelines so that all financial institutions can be in compliance with the security issues.
Evangeline, I'll go to you next, because of the three here, I mean, the Philippines is still the most developing economic system, and you mentioned yourself that it's only about 32% of people who have account access right now. So is there a push there from the government?
Well, yes, their main strategy actually was to launch the National Retail Payment System framework. And then in 2018, that's when they passed two laws related to that, the National Payment Systems Act and the National ID System. But as mentioned, our main challenge there is that cooperatives are excluded in this interoperable framework. We're just we can participate there as agents of the banks or electronic money issuers, but not directly. So, and that's what we're advocating with our regulatory agency as well as with the central bank, to enable us to become direct participants in the national retail payment system.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. We only have a few minutes left, and I it's going to be one more for you, Evangeline, because it's a pretty specific question, but somebody asks, is the BSP response to the KAYA platform related to the Passive Income and Financial Intermediary Taxation Act? If so, how?
No, I'm not so familiar with the PFITA bill, but I guess it has something to do with the taxes. But no, it's not. The BSP response is more of the NRPS, related to the NRPS framework. It's just limited to banks and electronic money issuers. Nothing mentioned there about other financial service providers like cooperatives.
Okay. Well, we are coming up here. It's been really a fast-moving 90 minutes and a lot of great information. Thank you so much for your time and answering all of those questions. If you want to get other questions answered, we can certainly get your message to any of the speakers. So if you want to email us, you can do that at communications@woku.org. That's communications@woku.org. I do want to thank again Evangeline, Zhao, and Inchol for joining us today. Our webinar was recorded. It will be available later, probably tonight in Asia, on the World Council YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/woku, youtube.com/woku. And we want to mention, if you're looking to continue learning about credit union topics ranging from communications to digitization, advocacy, and more, be sure to register for the World Credit Union Conference. It's taking place all virtually this year. So if you've never been able to go before because it's been in some country far away, well, now's your chance. It's all virtual, and you can register at wcuc.org. Again, that's wcuc.org. We hope to see you there. Thanks for joining us.